without a shadow of a doubt, it's the Cronkite Show in social media history. Y'all know what it is, man. It's 7 o'clock, and it's the war zone. I got my good friend Donovan Sadiq in the building. The Nubian Queen, Demetria K. And Zydeco Superstar. Straight out the nickel, baby. Ruben Moreno's in the building, baby. I know y'all better get a seatbelt tonight, because we're going to talk about a little bit of everything. We about to go in, man. Say, man, I want to welcome y'all to the war zone. And I want to say what's going down. What's going down, man? You know, I had a very eventful day today. I did a little traveling and came down here and had to try to find Jared Davis's house, you know, running in Senate District 142. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But in the meantime, I want to say what's up to my co-hosts. They in the building. Zydeco Superstar Ruben Moreno is also in the building. And I'm going to turn it over to Demetria. What's going on, mama?
So hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us here. I don't know if I'm having a little bit of feedback here, but as you can see, we have Mr. Ruben Moreno in the building. Zydeco, and you know, and I'm going to ask you about that because I was listening to some of your stuff. So I'm going to ask you about the style of music you have in a minute. But it sounds like you were heavily influenced through growing up in Houston by a whole host of artists. And so can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I grew up in a really interesting place. I grew up in inner city in the wards, in Second Ward and Fifth Ward, and those are two neighboring communities. And there's a lot of music, a lot of culture there. And I had the privilege of being raised by my grandmother, and she raised me from birth until I was 15 and a half, somewhere around there. She passed right before I was 16, and she had a club. She owned a bar that was connected to the house. So I had free access in and out of the bar as soon as I could walk. And she had all walks of life into that bar. She had all type of singers, performers, musicians, comedians, philosophers, military men, like everybody, every walk of life are going through that place. So I was able to pick up a lot. I was able to learn a lot. In a setting like that, you know, it's probably not the ideal place for a child to be raised, but I think I learned a lot of survival skills, and I learned a lot of music from there, and visiting family and friends, and all over Second Ward and Fifth Ward. Being able to grow up, part of my life in Frenchtown is a particular part of Fifth Ward, and being able to be exposed to the history and appreciating our deep Zydeco roots and our blues culture and stuff like that in Houston that a lot of people take for granted. They don't even know they're being exposed to it when they're being exposed to it.
Right. And your story of your grandmother, have you ever saw the movie Lackawanna Blues?
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of while you were talking about your grandma and all the people who come in and out.
Yeah, it's that movie is it's strange seeing that movie at a real young age. The young man's name is Ruben,
yes.
And he's raised by this grandmother figure, and she's in this setting where it's like it's just everything that I was exposed to, from renting rooms to having the juke joint and the drinks and the food, and I was like, wow, this is real, and it's based on a true story. I'm like, okay, there's another Ruben that went through that before me, so I appreciate that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's what I heard as you were telling the story. I was like, and it actually is one of my favorite movies because like you were saying, Ruben, the character, which is actually his real name too, he was heavily influenced by all of those people. And so, yeah, that's what I heard. So tell us about, let's say the first time you were able to perform, and what was that like?
The first time I officially performed, I was 10 years old. The times before that, it was just me at my grandmother's bar or in her backyard on Sunday mornings, trying to hone my skills and learn. But when I was 10 years old, I got an opportunity, another unusual opportunity as a 10-year-old going into the Houston Continental Club. And it's the Zydeco legend. We have he wrote a lot of the hits that are being passed down now today. His name is Leo Thomas, and his son Leroy Thomas. Him and his son were performing at the Continental Club, and it was Leo's birthday, and they call him the Bull of Zydeco. So here this legendary Zydeco artist, and it's his birthday night, and he's got his hat and his 3-piece suit, and it's, I don't know, I think it was red. Everything, including the shoes and the socks, was like red and gold. And he comes down, and I walk through the front door. He walks to the front so he can let the bar owner and the doorman know that 10-year-old is with us. He's going straight to the stage. He ain't gonna be doing nothing else. And I guess this is 20 years ago. So I guess back then it was still kind of okay as long as you were with your guardian to show up at the bar, you know, for a child to be at the bar. So, which other states and other parts of this country, they would never consider that. They probably think that's some child abuse or some mess like that. So if it wasn't for this moment, I don't think I would have been sure that performing is what I wanted to do. You know, he walks to the front of the club, and I reach my hand out to shake him. It's my first time meeting Leo. I met Leroy lots of times since I was like 7. But Leo, he pulls his hand out, and I remember my hand being engulfed in his hand, and having this really cool experience, seeing hundreds of people in this spot. It's only standing room. It's standing room only. I'm coming to people's like below their chest. So, and I'm walking through the audience, and people are making room so we can get to the stage. And I get onto the stage, and Leroy kicks off the night. And 2 songs in, he calls me onto the stage, and I strap up my washboard, and I get up there with my little Texas flag bandana, and I remember seeing the audience, and that was it. That was my first official time performing in a full-on concert setting like this. So that was it.
10 years old. Wow. That had to be quite an experience. So were you nervous, or was it just like a natural thing? I mean, what was going through your mind as a 10-year-old, I guess, doing your first official performance?
It was excitement. It was not so nervous, because I had so many years to practice and perform my little routine when I was a lot younger. You know, I wasn't playing washboard. I was singing and dancing, and I'd go up to the jukebox. I get the milk crate, stand on there. I flip through the pictures. I see Fats Domino, Little Richard, and Zydeco artists like Clifton Chenier and Buzu Chavis, and I knew how to use the jukebox at I don't know, 3 or 4 years old, and that's what I'd do. I'd imitate our rock and roll icons from the 50s and 60s, you know, and then I was able to practice my instruments on Sunday mornings at my grandmother's in the backyard, because, you know, I believe at that time, I don't know about now, but on Sundays especially, you couldn't buy alcohol or liquor until a certain time. And sometimes, you know, in Texas, you can't even buy it on a Sunday. So my grandmother would open up at 5 in the morning, and she'd have food and drinks. And you couldn't go in the bar. You had to go in the backyard, because that's private property. So only her close circle would be able to stay in the backyard. Everybody else had to go. They're getting stuff to go. They're getting 6-packs, 12-packs, and drinks. And so they'd set up their instruments, and I'd wake up maybe around 7. I'd wash up. I'd put my clothes and my Stacey Adams on, and I'd part my hair, and and then I'd go outside, and I heard the music, so I'd follow the music, and I go outside to the backyard, and I'd join all the adults on their instruments, and I'd grab my instrument, and I'd sit there and I'd learn as much as I possibly could, you know.
Cool. So, you know, I was listening to this stuff, and admittedly, I'm from Southern California, so I'm through Gary, rather. I'm learning how to. I'm learning about Zydeco. So I was listening to your stuff, and some of it is Zydeco, but some of it is like R&B, and you know, you have some rap, a couple other people, and so Did you know from that young age you were going to venture off into other stuff?
Yeah. And by the way, you're in Southern California. What part of California are you in?
Riverside, 45 minutes from Los Angeles.
Yeah, I know where Riverside is at. I started my professional Zydeco career, solo career, in the Bay. I was living in Oakland, and there's a big Zydeco dance community in Southern California. I will actually be in Long Beach. I was supposed to be in Long Beach May 23rd, 24th, and 25th this year, but due to coronavirus, they moved it to next year in May. So, um, the music. I knew from a young age that I would do music, and I never told myself that I should restrict myself to one. The first styles of music that I remember having experiences with, other than blues and rock and roll, was experiences on stages with other Latin acts.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I got to go to live shows with bands around Houston, well, with my aunt, to see bands that she knew, and I would play percussion, and it was just on the side, like, look at the little cute boy doing stuff, playing something, and it was a lot of different styles of what they call Latin music. It's American music. It's American made salsa, merengue, cumbia, conjunto music, tejano music. Like, that's all American made music. So I was exposed to that stuff, and I didn't. Even then, I was like, okay, well, I got blues, rock and roll, soul, and this Spanish stuff under my belt. I knew what Zydeco music was, but I hadn't gone to enough live shows. Um, but roots music, I guess you can say it was roots and old school music, and I knew I'd be a roots artist. I didn't know if I would ever be a pop or an R&B artist. It's something I was open to, but at a young age, I saw what I did was different than what was popular. I played Zydeco music 90% of the time, and I knew that wasn't what was on the radio the majority of the time. I didn't rap. I like rap. I like rap. I grew up in Houston, so there's a lot of Houston artists that I love to listen to. But I didn't see myself as a rapper, even though I grew up in an impoverished community, and I had to learn how to fight and defend myself at a young age. And I grew up in the hood. I grew up in some pretty hard streets, but it didn't mean I had to rap. It didn't mean I had to, partake in every part of the culture there. So Zydeco music was special, and I knew I'd be a roots artist. But I was open to it. I guess that'll help answer your question. But I didn't know. Not that I didn't think. I didn't know when I would have the opportunity to do something that was more within the pop world and the mainstream world, that mainstream audience, and I just got that opportunity recently. It's just a few years ago I got that opportunity. But I had been writing R&B and pop songs and stuff like that. So that's one thing. I guess I was like, just in case.
Right.
So yeah, so I've always been writing all styles of music. I wrote country songs when I was a young teenager. It was all type of stuff. I got catalogs of stuff that I haven't recorded yet. So that's
So,
another thing.
have you ever been compared to Carlos Santana? Because I get that feel when I listen to some of your stuff.
Hmm.
I mean, and just even your whole vibe. Have you ever been heard that before in comparison to yourself?
I haven't, but he's one of, you can say he's one of many inspirations. I love his music, and I love his it's really his energy and his vibe that I really feed off of, and his ideologies. He's very spiritual man, a very loving, kind man. That's what he talks about. When he talks about what he represents as a person and an artist, so he's a real positive influence, and his music moves me, and it takes me to good places. So that's actually good, really good. But thank you for saying that. That's what
That's
nice.
what I saw. And then let me ask you this: if you ever saw him, what's the inspiration behind that? Because that's like to me, real R&B. So, what was the inspiration behind that? I watched the video, and it was kind of on the morbid side. It was a funeral type of thing. So, is that a true story, or so? What's behind that?
Which was it? The video that was at a funeral?
Yes,
Oh, that was If You Ever Met Her.
that's what I meant. If you ever met her, sorry about that.
Yeah. that song right there. See, Bash helped me write that. He came up with a hook, and it was the beat. I think the producer. I think if I'm not mistaken, it was Bruce Bangs, a well-known Houston producer out of iMix Studio, and I
Yeah, I
started
know
humming.
Bruce.
Yeah, so I started humming some stuff, and Bash, he don't wait 10 seconds before he starts throwing stuff out there. He's just so natural at moving forward in the studio. It's like he hears me singing, he hears me humming. Try this, and I was like, you know what, that fits. So, what did it come from a real place? It definitely did. I lost my grandmother before I turned 16 years old, and this song, I told him, it's really I'm getting this from having that experience of a loss, and that's what I started writing off of. And he was like, Ruben, that's a great story, but we're doing a music video, and people will be moved in such a way to see or to think and imagine them losing a girlfriend or a wife or a mother, somebody like that. So that's why we used that setting, where I had lost, my girlfriend or fiance, and those tears on the scene where I fall out on the casket, that's 100%. That's real right there. Because I put my mind where I was when I lost my grandmother, and my mind where I would be if I were to ever lose the mother of my children. It's like I don't want to be in that place. I don't. That's somewhere I don't ever want to be. So I couldn't imagine that, and it worked. It worked the way it worked. Those words came from heart. That scene came from the heart. All of that was it meant a lot to me. It was a really good experience, and the production of that video was out of this world. We went to a church, and the cameraman picks me up because I'm in LA at my people's house, and I Ubered kind of in the area, and I didn't. He said, meet me in the flower district. We got to pick up flowers for the video, and I knew there was gonna be some type of death scene. I just wasn't ready to see a casket in the back of my boy's car. Like, it was crazy. We pick up the flowers. We got the casket. I'm doing the scenes with the girl, and it's like, wow, all this is coming together. Then we get to the church. They unload the casket. The casket gets unloaded. The scenes start. The makeup comes. I'm at a funeral. I'm at a whole funeral. It was nuts. It was really nuts.
So, Ruben, what is your nationality? What is your actual nationality?
My nationality. I was born in Houston, Texas. As we also consider it the land of Amexem. I'm a Moorish American. I don't identify as Hispanic. That's not a nation. Latino is not a nation. And they find ways to take our nationalities and take away our sovereignty and take away our natural born rights when they take away our identities and they take away who we are, as a whole. So I identify as Moorish American.
Okay. So, growing up in Fifth Ward, Texas, I mean, coming from Fifth Ward, did they accept you as a Moorish American doing Zydeco? Or was that
Um,
a tough transition?
I was always an essay growing up. That's what everybody
Okay.
called me. Essay. That also is not a nation, but a Frenchman, Creole, Spanish, essay. Those are the terms that we often throw at each other. Latino just got popular because of these Latin acts who they use that identity. Um, so did they accept me? Some people didn't. I still hear stuff. I still get a little get a little hate. Um, I'm not doing real Zydeco music because I'm not a black man. They like to use that term as well, and it's like some places I'm too black. That's what's funny. Some places I'm too black, some places I'm not black enough. So you want to say something, Mr. Donovan? Okay, yeah. So like certain parts, I'm gonna say certain parts of Texas and Louisiana, they didn't accept my presence there, and it was people of I guess a lighter complexion. And then some places in Texas and Louisiana, I wasn't Not so many. That's the thing, though. Not so many. I wasn't necessarily not accepted there, but there was some form of negativity, because I didn't fit the description of a Texas Zydeco artist, which are of the darker complexion, and I faced all type of interesting moments. I was in Austin, Texas, and um this dude came up to the stage and he was like, "You ain't playing Zydeco music. I ain't hearing no real Zydeco music." And I was like, "Well, what do you consider Zydeco music?" And he said, "Well, Bojack was real Zydeco. Clip the Chenier is the king of Zydeco, and you ain't playing that." And then I had a conversation with him because it was break time. So I sat down and I had a conversation with the man because I wanted to know what it was what it is that made you feel that you had to come to me at in the middle of my work to insult me, to tell me that I'm not doing the right thing. I'm doing this wrong. So I want to know what I'm doing wrong. And he says, "Well, Clip the Chenier, that's real Zydeco. And Bojack, that's real Zydeco. And none of y'all play this music no more, especially you. You're not doing it. And you don't even look like you know what you're doing." I said, "Well, the concepts. Let's talk about the concepts. Bojack and the Zydeco High Rollers. That's one of the most successful Zydeco bands on the face of the planet. He passed away, I think, like 2001 or something around there. He had opportunities that people would only dream of. He was on movie soundtracks. He was on morning shows. He was on shows internationally. That man was the man. He was one of my biggest inspirations in Zydeco genre. And let's talk about Clip the Chenier. He is the reigning crown king of Zydeco music. His son, CJ Chenier, took on his legacy, and I consider him the king of Zydeco because his father was the king, and his father passed away in 1987, 88, somewhere around there. And he got to perform for the Queen of England. He got to take Zydeco music around the world that some of us, most of the artists today haven't even reached that form of fame. He put Zydeco music on the map in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And what he did was great. I consider him king still, and I learned a lot listening to his music. Not to mention, so this man said that what I was doing wasn't Zydeco. So and then I had to break it down. I was like, okay, so Bojack, he took your most popular funk, your most popular blues, your most popular psychedelic funk in R&B, and he turned that into a Zydeco song. He turned that into a Zydeco beat. He used that Zydeco essence, and he used these lyrics, these popular lyrics and riffs, and he infused that together. So what you're saying is George Benson's Breezin' is more Zydeco than my two steps and my waltzes. This is pretty much what this man was saying. And he didn't understand what I was telling him. And I was like, you just compared me to real Zydeco as Bojack. But Bojack is known for taking top 40s and turning them into Zydeco hits. Top 40s isn't Zydeco, And then let me go over to Clip the Chenier, the king of Zydeco, the man who gave it the name Zydeco music. He took Ray Charles, Little Richard, B.B. King, Sam Cooke, and put a traditional Zydeco beat behind it, but sang it in an R&B style, and added an electric guitar, and added a keyboard, a B3 organ. He added all these elements that took our music out of the fields and the little bars out in the country to mainstream, to big stages, to New York City. But that in still is not Zydeco music as a whole. That's not traditional. That's not Creole Zydeco music. That's taking music and infusing it with top 40s. And the man, he didn't have too much of a comment after that. And I said, what I'm doing today, I play these traditional songs. I play songs from Amadeo Dwayne. We're talking 1930, 1929. I play this old music. But then I'll also take your top 40s of today. I'll take something from Khalid. I'll take something from Chris Brown, and I'll play it to a Zydeco beat, and I'll go into one of my originals, and my original songs get those elements of today's hip hop and today's R&B and even some jazz and some Latin beats and riffs. So I'm using the same system. I'm using the same formula, and I never broke that formula because I saw all the people before me do that as well. And it that's how you connect with your audience. You go out and you read your audience and you say, hey, I'm in a place where everybody here knows how to. Everybody here listens to George Strait and Tim McGraw. Maybe I should play something relevant. You know, or I'm in the middle of the country, believe it or not. I'll be in Moscow, Texas, where everybody here listens to Houston rap and R&B. So I'll take what's on the radio and I'll do those songs along with all the Zydeco hits that they're familiar with. So that's all it's doing is I'm using the same formula. I'm doing the same thing. So sometimes I get a little hate. Sometimes I get people, you're not doing it right. You're not doing the way we used to do it. I'm doing it exactly the way y'all used to do it. If you really want to
Well,
know.
if they get mad at you, then they should be mad at Chris. They should be mad at Leon. They should be mad at Jay. Definitely be mad at Jay Paul.
Paul,
Because
no, he
Jay
took
on
top.
something else.
Yeah, he takes top 40s. And he does, like, man, that's another. I mean, being grown up in Houston, Paul was the man when it came to being current. Yeah, I love my old school legends, but being current, man, I was at the J. Paul dances every chance I could, you know, and so he paved the way for when it comes to progressive and modern styles of Zydeco music, you know, and I think I'm touching on grounds that might be a little more extreme on the progressive side, you know, because I like Miss Demetra said, you know, like some of these songs sound like R&B. Some of them are full on R&B. Some of them are a hybrid. Some of them I'm breaking the formula a little bit, and I'm taking it a little further, trying to see how much further can I take it, because Paul took it to another level. That's the name of one of his albums. He stepped out the box a little bit and said, you know what, I'm just gonna try this, you know, and he made it comfortable. He made it comfortable for artists like me.
I think Jay Paul was one of the first ones that infused the hip hop into Zydeco.
He did it successfully.
Yes.
It was some artists before him that did it in the mid 90s. They were not so successful at it. And what I say is by that is it sounded more Zydeco than it did hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
But when Jay did it, he made it sound like we've never heard it before. He made it sound like they're a brother and sister of a genre, like they had always been connected, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, let's kind of switch gears for a 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
I had a great conversation with you the other day, and we got into politics. I don't know if you guys saw my video today, and I went looking for Jared Davis's house. You know, he's a politician, and he's running in Senate District 142 in a runoff against Harold Dutton. Well, I show up at the address, and it's an empty lot. It's an empty lot. And the sad part about that is the corruption in politics is not just affecting the African American community, it's affecting the Moorish community as well as the Latino community, because I really feel that they use my Latino brothers and sisters for their votes and they get nothing from it. Sounds familiar, don't it, Demetri? But they use them, especially in Houston, for their votes and they get nothing from it. So what do you think about that?
What do I think about it? Man, look, I'm 30 years old, and before I can even say anything, y'all might throw me out the chat already. Before I can say anything, I got to let you know this. Look, I'm a millennial, as they call my generation, millennial, and I got to be honest. I just turned 30 a few months ago, and I still don't hate me. I still haven't participated in an election yet. Not a local, not a state, not a presidential election. Why? Because when I get excited about somebody, I get excited about a candidate, and I see, you know what, this person right here, and it's this person right here. Okay, let me figure this out. And I start researching them. And I research them and I see where they're from. I see what their education is. I see what they've gotten done. I see what their actions are, what it is that what choices they kind of lean towards, and the people that they rub shoulders with. And then I start to hear who they're funded by. And then I start to hear, I reach out to I reach out to communities, and I start to hear what type of interactions they've had, what type of what they can tell me about these people, because I want to know from my elders, and I want to know from the people around my age and from my youth, because some of these people, as soon as they're 18, they're going out there and they're voting, and I'm proud of them, because that's an exercise, and I think your vote matters locally. But then I get experiences with some of these people, and they misrepresent themselves, and they misrepresent the communities that they so-called represent. A lot of the times we get riled up by what they're selling. We go out and we vote, and they drop the ball, and they don't fulfill a lot of their promises. And I know that's usual. A politician can't be perfect. He ain't going to fulfill everything. He ain't going to fulfill our dreams. But when I see certain things, and I can't say no names, but when I see them make choices that are going to be devastating to the community, devastating to my neighbors, devastating to myself, I take that personal, because I am a community member, and I kind of do rely on you, and I'm counting on you to be my voice, and I'm counting on you to make decisions that are going to not affect our health, our physical health, our mental health, that are not going to affect our economy, our local economy. We got small businesses, and we got things that can be affected that'll ruin us. Everything from supporting your small businesses to I mean, we all know this word gentrification. Y'all familiar with this word gentrification?
Oh yeah.
Gentrification is genocide. It's genocide. That's what it is. There's nothing wrong with working next to your brothers and sisters, no matter what complexion they are, no matter what their nationality is, no matter what their ideology is or their religion is. It don't matter. That's not gonna make me not want to work with you. But there's a way to work and to live side by side, people, and it's not making it to where one class or one type of people have to fall or suffer to make room and to allow others to come in, no matter what communities you're in. I remember growing up, and my grandmother driving me through lines and Jensen, and her talking about the wealth and the business life and the industry and the economy through those routes and these communities from Second Ward to Fifth Ward. Those are neighboring communities. And when I was born, I went straight to Second Ward. I grew up and I spent more time in Fifth Ward, and then I started going back and forth. So I never got to see the booming Fifth Ward businesses that she saw, but I saw another type of booming Fifth Ward. I saw other type of businesses, small businesses. And some of these people that we vote in, it breaks my heart, because they don't see this community as they don't value it the way I value it. They don't know this store owner. He might go in and drop a stack of flyers in that store and say, "Vote for me, brother. I promise you, things gonna get great." And then some of these businesses that we're talking about before COVID-19, a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, one by one, these businesses are closing down. They're closing down. Some of these people are having to move out and be pushed out. There's problems with our soil, problems with our air, problems with our education system, problem with so much that it ain't getting better. So what the hell are we doing with our vote? Some of these people I got to meet one-on-one, and I said, you know what, I might be able to vote for you. I might be able to vote for you. And I don't even make it to the ballot. I don't even register to vote, because I've yet to see enough to go in there and say, you know what, I'm sure this is what I'm going to do. I'm sure I believe in this person. Some of the people that I did believe in, they didn't have enough funding to go to the end of to get to the end of the race. They didn't have enough millionaires supporting them. They didn't have enough millionaires, but Why are we allowing millionaires to make these decisions for us? You know, like I just don't get it. I don't. There's so many issues. There's so many issues to talk about. And like you said, our local representation, man. Well, I've been fooled plenty of times by these smiling faces. That's all I got to say right now with that.
Well, I tell you, over in Second Ward and especially City Council, that would be Robert Gallegos.
Mhm.
Um, when you look at Fifth Ward, that would be Jared Davis, who doesn't seem to know where his house is located.
Hmm.
But there is a lack of diversity on City Council. It's not a true reflection of what this city is, and that's a big problem for me because I really feel, there's more than enough, Latino brothers or whatever we want to call them, Second Ward, Fifth Ward, to have true representation.
There
But
is enough.
these politicians have a lock on these seats, and they want to control every single thing that's going on, and they don't want to relinquish them. They forget about, the black and brown people. In Houston alone, Demetria and Donovan, the black and brown population is a forgotten entity a lot of days, no matter how diverse they want to say that this city is. It's a forgotten entity, in the political world, in the school world. Most of our black and brown schools are failing, and they don't try to help. They're not really trying to do anything about it. So, they act like they are, but they really are not. So, to even be in your position and be a recording artist and have the views that you have is astounding to me because I could actually sit up and talk to a lot of recording artists that wouldn't even know who their city council member was.
Yeah, well, they tell us, a lot of people, they tell me, Ruben, stick to singing. I'll get one comment like that online, maybe once a month, once every other month. And it's dealing with an issue that affects, like you said, these communities of color, you know. And most of these communities, while I grew up, they were poor. Now I love that I'm getting older, and I'm seeing these communities of color that are growing, that are booming, that are, we got a lot of brown and black business owners, CEOs, millionaires, intellectuals. We got all these cats in Houston right now. They've always been there, but the community's growing, and so there's more of it. Um, what we need, I guess, what I've always said is what we need to educate our people a whole lot more. Our people ain't stupid. It ain't that. It's exposing the truths and helping them find these information, helping them find the sources, helping them find the tools, because there's so much that if they were just if they would just see the other side of all these other people, they would change their vote. They would change their support. I'm not a person to choose parties. I don't choose Democrat, Republican. I choose what have you done. I want to see your record. I want to see your record. I want to see what your actions, your choices. I want to see what you've done. Republican, Democrat, Green Party, Libertarian, Conservative, whatever that your ideology is, your concept in your mind, that don't matter to me because I don't want to title you. I'm not going to say you are this color or you have this type of mind. So I'm already going to, cancel you out. I don't work that way. So if we could find a way to educate our people more so they can base their decisions on better things and use better judgment, I think it'd be a whole lot better. And you talk about the education system. I'm 30, so I remember when I was in high school. I remember when I was in middle school and elementary too. I remember those days well. When I got kicked out. Let's see, I got kicked out of a Milby High School. Before I was supposed to go to Jones. I moved and I got rezoned to Milby. And I got kicked out of Milby, went to Chavez High School. Chavez High School is on the southeast down Old Galveston Road. It was fairly new when I went there. It was like 2 years old. It was a beautiful school. My grandma had passed away. I didn't have my shirt tucked in enough times. So I get sent to the principal's office. They write me up. They say if you get one more write up, you're gonna get kicked out of this school and you're gonna go to CEP, alternative school. So I'm in class and we get a substitute teacher. I'm in algebra or whatever it was. And we got a substitute teacher. The substitute starts talking about religion. Me, being the person that I am, I raised my hand and said, Mr. So-and-so, can we drop the topic and can you teach me how to divide? Because I'm 14 years old and I'm in algebra and I can't even divide right now. So he says, oh, you're being a smart ass. Okay, you're being a smart ass. Stand up and I don't know, he sent me to the corner. He sent me somewhere. I get to the wall and I'm huffing and puffing. I'm looking at the wall. I'm like, man, this is bullshit. Things escalate. He starts yelling at me. He takes me to the office. He takes me to the principal's office. He tells the principal that I threatened his life. He tells the principal I threatened his life. So this man lying on a 14-year-old boy who he don't know just lost his grandmother, ain't got nowhere to go. I've been sleeping at my friend's house every other day. I got to switch up, go to another friend's house. I got to figure out how I got to eat. I got to figure out all these things. So he calls the person on the list to call and say, hey, we're kicking Ruben out. He's going to be going to CEP. Do you want to dispute that in any way or form? So this family member says, no, take him where you got to take him. So I go to my friend's house. I'm sitting there for 2 days. I'm suspended or something. I get to CEP. My life changes. I get transferred from one alternative school to another alternative school to another alternative school. And I don't go to jail. I don't go to juvenile. I don't make no decisions like that. But when I tell you that this school system does not support the children the way they supposed to support us, I was left alone. I was in a bad place. You know how bad I could have failed? I could have hit rock bottom at that age. I could have gave up on my life and I could have just ran in this crowd that I was surrounded by in this community where I grew up in. You know, I got taught how to use a gun at 13 years old. I got taught how to fight at a younger age, and I was walking around after my grandma passed away. I was walking in these streets. I was trying to figure out how to get this next meal, how to pay for this stuff for my girlfriend, and then a year after that, I get my first child. I'm 16 years old, almost 17, a few months from 17, and I'm holding this little boy in my arms. You know, so. If school would have been a little bit more supportive, if they'd have had more tools and resources exposed to me, because they probably had the resources, but they didn't tell me nothing about them. You know, if I'd have had a little bit more support, my life would have been different. And it would have saved a lot of other boys that I saw were so easy in my position that made that choice to just go ahead and fall. I'm just gonna go ahead and fall, you know?
Donovan?
Yeah, hey, man, great topic and
I
great
can't
to
hear you.
meet you. Can you hear me now?
I can't hear him now.
He's muted, but I couldn't hear him when he was on.
Hold on a second, y'all.
Now.
All right.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear him.
Okay.
Can you hear him, Ruben?
I can't hear him well. No, not at all. I can hear you great.
Ask the question, Donovan. I'll repeat it.
Okay.
Can't hear him at all now.
He got it muted. He got it muted.
Hold on a second. Let's see what's going on. You got to unmute your microphone.
It's unmuted. There it goes.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Great conversation. Great to meet you. Sorry about the mic problems. But out here on my outlet, you just disappointed a lot of ladies by saying you were 30 years old. So, I might have to get into Zydeco.
You just disappointed a lot of ladies when you said you were 30 years old.
But my question is,
man.
What are
where
your
the cougars at?
Where the cougars at? What you say?
Where the cougars at, man?
Oh man.
Yeah. So what do you got going current and future projects?
What do you got going on current and future projects?
Current and future projects. After my last few R&B debuts, I got more R&B music, more pop music. I'm trying to do something different. Right now, I'm working on a roots project. It's a well, actually, let me step back. A friend of mine wrote a song and had an arrangement in his head, and I brought it to reality in the studio with his help. And it's a COVID-19 Zydeco song that's titled "Give Me 6 Feet," and that releases midnight tonight. That releases tonight. So it's got some long words. It's pretty uplifting. It's positive. It's funny. You know, it sounds like a BoJack song. It's real good. It's a good Zydeco song. So it's a little something to put some smiles on people's faces, especially in the moment and the time that the things they're going through right now. So it's also something that we can look back on. It's a COVID-19 Zydeco song, and I think it'd be kind of funny looking a few years later, looking back and remembering that time where we had to go through all this. We're going through a lot. You know, after this single right here, probably in a month from now, I got a Zydeco Roots project. I'm going way back into the roots. So remember these people that make these comments that I'm not playing real Zydeco music. Well, I'm going back and I'm reminding people where this music started from, the origin, the original sounds, and the elements I'm pulling from. And it's called Black Beans. Okay, this album is called Black Beans, and I got 12 tracks. And it's real special. It's a real special project to me. After that drops, I got Zydeco Revolution project coming out. That's another progressive Zydeco album, and I'm going far out. I'm gonna touch some grounds that a lot of Zydeco artists might be a little too nervous to touch. But my audience, my Zydeco audience, is around entirely around the world, and there's people in European and African countries that are using my songs for club dance music, and it ain't not the typical Zydeco songs. They're using the more obscure, the more eclectic sounds that I play with. So I'm gonna take it a little further, and I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it into some new ground, and I'm gonna try something a little more me, And I think people are gonna respond to that well.
Dimitri?
So you said you have a child, I guess maybe about 15, 16 now. Are they involved in music at all?
Yeah, my son Ruben Jr. He's 13 years old. He got a scholarship from elementary. He went to Bruce Elementary in Fifth Ward off of Jensen, and that's where Khalid, our great Black Panther leader, Khalid Muhammad, also attended that school. So my son listens to a lot. I've instilled a lot. He's learned a lot. He from this elementary school. Now he's going to Maryland School for Visual and Performing Arts.
Yep.
Yeah, he's attending a really good school. He plays 5 instruments. He sings. He reads and writes music. He produces music. He's top of his class, and I've never been so proud of anybody in my life like I'm proud of,
So
little Ruben.
here's a big question. Where is he going to high school?
Where's he going to high school? There's a few things. I don't want him to go to HSPVA. I'm trying to look at some other alternatives for performing arts.
Now we have a brand new entertainment entrepreneurship academy
I didn't know
over
that.
at Yates High School.
Wow.
And we just we announced this on the show last week. Me and Paul Wall are going to build a miniature studio for the students at Austin High School.
I went to Austin High School.
Yeah. So I mean, he has a lot of options. As far as high schools go, just depends on what he wants to do. But I tell people, don't sleep on Yates. And plus, it's an what they call that, a baccalaureate.
What is that?
They gave him that status, international baccalaureate world school now at Yates. So I mean, but the biggest thing is me and my friend created that entertainment academy for a reason, because we want kids to learn not just the art of music, but learn the business. You need to learn the business. If you master the business, the music is the easy part.
You see, the music was what I was always worried about. And I didn't learn the business until a few years ago. I never published my music correctly. I never received my credits correctly. There's so much stuff that I missed because I didn't have that education, that business education. Now, you want to talk about booking gigs and negotiating? I did that all day. I booked between 180 to 250 shows a year, but that never went anywhere if I wasn't doing the right things in business, you know? So in the past few years, that's what I've been focused on, and I've been able to grow a lot off of that, and I'm happy I've been able to do that. And that's what I try to talk to my son about, you know, because he's got all the music knowledge. I said, okay, now you're 13. In the next few years, I'm going to introduce you to the business, and we got to start talking about that, you know.
Now you got him surrounded by some good people over there with Bash, and I actually work with Bruce. I've worked with Bruce several times. I tell anybody, if you want your stuff mixed and mastered the right way, go see Bruce.
Go see Bruce. Bruce Bangs, number one.
Whatever they want to call him, Oriental or whatever, the boy cold as ice boy.
He cold.
You gonna come up out of there banging, man.
He's my number one favorite producer to work with. Number one, I recommend to work with him. I've worked with plenty of producers, plenty of great, talented producers. When I go work with Bruce, I just never had that experience in any other studio. Working with this man, the chemistry, the speed that he works, and the efficiency, and that man works so well. He works so well with any artist. It don't matter who you bring in there.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, Dimitri.
I want to you said. I don't think a lot of people caught what you said. Reference Muhammad.
There's a little bit of feedback.
Okay, y'all. Everybody, your microphones.
A little bit better.
All right, can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I don't think a lot of people picked up what you said. You referenced Brother Khalid Muhammad. Sounds like he was somewhat of an inspiration to you. And I know he passed in 2001 or so. So what did you find inspirational about him? And just a little background. I actually had the pleasure of meeting him when I was younger. My dad was his first lieutenant.
Wow.
When he served at the as the minister of Temple 27 in Los Angeles. So a lot of people didn't hear what you said, but I heard what you said.
You know, a lot of our leaders, you know, and I'm not talking about our government leaders and our city officials. I'm talking about our grassroots leaders the things that always gets me, that pulls me in with many of our leaders, including Mr. Khalid Muhammad, is how they're so unapologetically real and true at the essence of everything they represent. From whether you consider your skin tone to be or your identity to be black, or whatever many things that you can identify as, you know, but he was true to the purpose to advance our people, to unveil, to wake us up, and to defend us. And he might, I'm gonna be honest, I probably shouldn't, I mean, I'm just gonna say it.
Go ahead.
He was a soldier, and he was willing to fight. And that's the thing. So many people are complicit. So many people are they just, I don't know what we sitting here waiting for, you know. And I'm not saying to go grab your guns and your swords and go out there and start some crap. But what I'm saying is you can't sit down and debate what you feel is gonna make something different from your computer, from the comfort of your own home. There's so much information out there. If you're doing anything like this at home, it better be research. It better be communications and networking. Other than that, you got to hit these streets. You got to knock on these doors. There are these city officials that do make a difference, and these state officials that do make a difference. You can go to their doors and you can knock. You should go to their offices. You should be writing letters. You should be getting on the phone and communicating with these people. And overall, you should be practicing your rights. Ain't nothing wrong with hitting the streets. There's nothing wrong with organizing accordingly with your people. What happened to our demonstrations? I'm not talking about picketing and holding signs. I'm talking what happened to our real action, our real demonstrations that Brother Muhammad and all of these other great men were doing for so long, until they started killing our leaders, until our leaders started getting sick or going down and passing whatever way they did. What happened to our actions? We need those actions. The 5-star general right here, and then the support of y'all. I mean, y'all give actions. It's more than just this live camera right here that we on. You know, y'all do so much more than that. We need the support from our brothers and sisters, and for anybody to think that an artist doesn't have a place, my platform is my place. The fact that I have an audience around the world that support what I believe and the support, the love that I have for human beings, that's my place. So I do have a place. My words, the inspiration that I give to everybody, you know, an artist can be a real dangerous man. Let's not forget who supported a lot of these movements back in the day. Our artists, so much more than our political leaders. Our artists supported a lot of these men and women that went out and acted to defend us and acted to make a change.
Have you ever watched? It's on Netflix called The Two Killings of Sam Cooke.
No, but I'm familiar with a lot of Sam Cooke's
Please, if
story.
anybody is watching, please watch that. Because as you were saying that about our leaders and music and the artists using their platforms, it reminded me of that. And I think people really have no idea about the gravity of Sam Cooke. And
Sam Cooke funded a lot financially.
Please watch that because it spoke to a lot of things that you said and potentially why he's not here anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, everybody go out and watch The Two Killings of Sam Cooke. I think it's still on Netflix.
Yeah, and that's the thing is people need to differentiate and understand the difference between these artists that are acting like they support the movements and the ones that actually do. You know, I can flaunt around Illuminati symbols all day and talk a good game. But if you ever see Ruben Moreno sitting on a few $1 million, understand that I'm doing something with it. Other than I'm not just gonna flaunt. That's not part of it. That's not part of it. Right now, I don't make enough to be considered rich, but I'm part of 2 influential nonprofits led by military veterans of color. Okay, and one nonprofit being Solel International, led by a Navy veteran, a Moorish American, by the name of Danny Asbury L. Now, there's a lot of things that we've done. Just one thing that I'm very, very, very proud of. It shows how fast we come into action. When we were going through Hurricane Harvey and the Hurricane Harvey relief, 2 days after the storm, we hit these communities and we assessed our communities in the Northwest from 5th Ward all the way up to the far Northeast, from 5th Ward all the way to the far Northeast. And we assessed these communities and we tried to find them everything that we could possibly produce and provide for these people from all ages. I raised almost $5,000 on my tour, and we fed almost 4,000 people from this. So those are some of the things that our nonprofits do right here in Houston. We do that. Another nonprofit that I'm affiliated with very closely is Seeds of the Soil. Seeds of the Soil is located on Quitman and Jensen. Okay, in that community of 5th Ward. Seeds of the Soil is led by Nathan Hawthorne. Nathan Hawthorne, born and raised in Alabama. Some of my roots come from Alabama and in the Black Indian tribes there. So he comes all the way from Alabama and finds a love for 5th Ward that the man wasn't even raised in 5th Ward, and he finds a love and compassion for 5th Ward, and he starts this group, Seeds of the Soil, which is a farm. It's a farm in 5th Ward that promotes educating the youth, educating the community, and empowering the community through agriculture, science, through art and technology. And the things that we've done from within our networks, from one of the board members being a very, very, very well-known fashion designer, custom making our mask and having starting contracts with the city of Houston to mass produce masks for our first responders, to trying to lead in mass producing ventilators with our Houston library 3D printing machines that were all these libraries and schools that were closed down. I said, we got tons of 3D printing machines. Why aren't we utilizing those? You know, so these nonprofits, we need it. They have a place. They have a place, and we're doing so many great things in the city of Houston. And it isn't just those nonprofits. I mean, I'm sure some of y'all know some of these organizations that are doing so much for our people, you know, and we need to stay active. Not only the nonprofits, but we need our voices. We need our activists. We need our people that are going out there and exercising their rights in the right way.
All right. And we can't hear you.
Yeah, you on mute. He's still talking.
I'm sorry. You made a great point. It's like trying to move the needle in the black and brown community. And I think that the Hispanic, Latino community, Moorish community, as well as the African American community, you know, we don't wake up wanting to fight.
That's right.
But if we got to get down, we need to start getting down.
That's right.
I look at the east end of town and I think about Joe Campus Torres.
And you know his anniversary just passed a few days ago.
Beaten viciously in Moody Park by some on-duty police officers, and the disrespect that came from that. You know, one officer got a $1 fine. $1. 4 quarters. And then you think about in our community, if we go back, we look at Ida Lee Delaney. You know, we can go back. It took over 300 police-related murders before we got a true bill from a DA on a police officer.
And I hate to you know, those streets that where Joe Campos Torres was dragged off of and thrown into the bayou. These are the streets that I used to walk down. These are the streets where my grandmother showed me the murals and showed me, you know, Ruben, we have a rich history. Ruben, we have a culture. Hispanic ain't a land. Latino ain't a land. We have empires. We are children of the greatest empires on the planet. You know, and she empowered me with those things, and to know that these stories and these people that were victims, you know, and we can be a victim any day in the city of Houston. Let me tell you about the HPD. I moved into the north side, near north side, what they call near north side Houston, which is just 5 minutes north of downtown. My second month of being there, I was dragged off twice by HPD. Twice off of my property because I was suspicious. How I'm suspicious in my yard? I went and reported it, and they said them officers didn't do nothing wrong, Mr. Moreno.
I bring that up for a reason, because 43 years later, after Campus Torres, just last week, a Latino brother was executed on his knees by the Houston Police Department. And we don't understand how we can make that stop. Some days you're going to have to get up and you're going to have to fight. The Mexican Americans, whatever we want to call them, African Americans, everything we ever got, we either had to fight for it or we had to die for it.
And it ain't any different now.
And the only difference is we're not doing it, and they continue to brutalize and kill us and murder us.
Yeah, and I think it goes right back to what I was saying earlier about educating our people, getting our people involved, getting our people directly involved, and educating them and enlightening them and letting them know. You know, and that could wake up a few, but you know, we don't all got the answers, but there's so many ways that we can help and we can make a difference in any way, shape, or way or form that I can assist y'all in doing that. I'm completely down. You know, my next Zydeco album, I'm being a little more political. I'm gonna be the first and only Zydeco artist right now, today, ever in history, that is gonna use this Zydeco platform and use this genre to expose some truths, to push some buttons, to get some people moving, to get people thinking. I can't wait to share that with y'all right here. I can't wait to share that with y'all.
Oh my goodness. Final words, Ms. Demetra.
Final words. As always, thank you for coming on here. And I want to say, I like your tattoo of your ankh.
This is a ankh on top and a Mexica double-headed serpent bar of king shit. So that's both my native roots and in the Americas and my native roots in our land in Africa.
Cool. I have one too on the back. Nobody knows that, so now you guys know. So where can you find your music?
My music can be found on every digital platform. You look up Ruben Moreno. You can find it on iTunes, Amazon, Spotify. You can follow my website at rubenmoreno.live. rubenmoreno.live. All of my music is there. My music video, I got a YouTube channel, Ruben Moreno Vivo on YouTube. Every platform of music, you can find me on it. Ruben Moreno, Zydeco. If you just Google it, everything should pull up. rubenmoreno.live is the website. I'm looking forward to talking to y'all again. There's still a lot more that we got to touch. We got to touch on these vaccines, on COVID-19. We got to touch on how these artists have been impacted by COVID-19, man. I got shows canceled all the way till August 2020. So, yeah. So, but there's a lot more we could talk. We could revisit this in a few weeks.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Mr. General, can't hear you. He said, damn.
Donovan, I think he's going to you.
Donovan.
Yeah, no, but yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Well, all I can say is thank you so much. And again, we need to get you back so we can get that, what you just said. Man, you should have your own show. You know, he should be on here as a host. He was dropping so much knowledge.
He welcome to come on anytime he get ready.
Anytime.
Just thank you.
Man, thank you. Thank y'all for having me. Thank you for welcoming me in your space. There's much love for y'all and everybody listening. I really appreciate that.
My final words are simple. Whether you black, white, brown, whatever, we got issues. And some days we're gonna have to man up. Some days we're gonna have to wake up and clearly understand that we're gonna have to go against the grain today. And sometimes when you're fighting for what's right, you'll walk that walk by yourself. You'll walk that walk by yourself. But if that's the case, then that's the case. Y'all tune in tomorrow night. Harris County Black Democratic Party. Harris County, the Coalition of Black Democrats, President Terrence Skanks tomorrow night. Let's talk about some of this foolishness that's going on in the Democratic Party. Because I'm not happy at the moment. I don't know how y'all feel, but I'm not happy. I want to thank our guest, Ruben Moreno. Make sure you go to all the platforms, pick up this man music, support my brother right now. Same thing we did for Leon the other night. Let's do it for Ruben, man. And make sure you tell Bash I need him on the show, man.
You got it. I'm going to holler at him right now.
I want to say thank you to my good friend Donovan Sadiq, my good friend Demetra K. I am the 5-star general. Tomorrow night, Terrence Skanks. We're going to get to the bottom of this democratic foolishness right now in the city of Houston. I'll holler at y'all.
Peace.